Hello, this is Chef John from foodwishes.com with French onion green bean casserole. That's right, the classic green bean casserole side dish, tricked out. Do people still say that? Tricked out with some of my favorite flavors from French onion soup, specifically caramelized onions and Gruyere cheese. So here we go. So I'm going to start by slicing up a couple onions, but not across the grain, which is how you usually slice onions. See the grain? See those lines in the onion? Usually you cut across that. But for this recipe, I want you to turn the onion and cut slices with the grain. That will let the pieces of onion stay together a little better, which I think works better for this recipe. Having said that, slice them any darn way you want. They're your onions. Okay, when the onions are sliced, we're going to heat some butter in a large skillet over medium heat. And when it's melted, you're going to dump in your onions with a pinch of salt, and we're going to cook those until caramelized. And how long is that going to take? Mine took about 15 minutes, but you'll know because they'll be soft and browned. If you got to back the heat down just a hair, go ahead. All right, you don't want them turning black before they soften, but those are looking beautiful right there. So I'm going to turn off the heat, and I'm going to reserve those until needed. All right, next up is our white sauce, which is very simple. A little bit of butter melted in a saucepan, again over medium heat. We're going to dump in some flour. We're going to whisk that together. So once you've cooked that flour for about 3 minutes in the butter, we're going to slowly whisk in our cold milk, slowly at first. You know the drill. Once you get that first half cup or so in, you could pour it quicker. Season it with some salt, some cayenne pepper, and some freshly grated nutmeg. Go buy a nutmeg and grate it fresh. It's a huge difference. All right, we're going to stir that, and we're going to bring that up to a simmer on medium heat. I'm also going to add a pinch of dry thyme. You can use fresh, but I actually like dry thyme better here. Like all roux-based sauces, that's going to thicken up as it comes to a simmer. And as soon as it does, let it cook a couple minutes, 2 or 3 minutes, stirring with a spatula. Turn it off and set it aside. That's done. All right, next we're on to prepping the beans. If you're on your grandma's porch, you can snap them like this. Pinch that end, but that's kind of slow. A more professional kitchen method would be this. Line up the beans, tap it with the flat of your knife, slice off the ends, turn it around, do the same thing to the other side, give it the old tappa, and just cut down like that. Very quick, very easy. When those are trimmed, I'm also going to cut them in half, just to make serving easier. All right, once your beans are prepped, we're going to boil those in salted water for about 3 or 4 minutes. We're not trying to cook them. We're just trying to take the raw edge off, okay? So they're going to basically still be crisp. They're just not going to be raw tasting, all right? So just 3 or 4 minutes is all you need. Pull them out of that water with a strainer. Let them drain very well. We don't want watery bean casserole. And set those aside. So we've been having fun so far, but it even gets more fun now because we get to do final assembly. We're going to take a 9x13 casserole dish, and in the bottom, we're going to spread out half of our caramelized onions. Once those are spread out, I want you to dump over all the drained beans. Definitely use your hands so you burn yourself to spread them out. Or if you're smart, use tongs. All right, I'm going to season those with salt and pepper. There's nothing worse than bland vegetables. Translation, undersalted vegetables. I'm going to dump over our white sauce, spread that over evenly. Okay. Then Gruyere cheese. So we're going to divide our Gruyere in half. We're going to place half the Gruyere down at this point. We're going to top that with the rest of the onions. Okay, spread it evenly. You can just use the back of a spoon to press that down into that white sauce and cheese. Then we're going to take some breadcrumbs. I'm using panko, but any breadcrumb will work. With a little bit of melted butter. We're going to sprinkle that over the top. Spread it evenly, of course. Why would you spread it unevenly? All right, over the top of the crumbs goes the last half of the Gruyere cheese. By the way, a wonderful, amazing Swiss cheese, classic with French onion soup. And then to finish, the final touch, a little dusting of Reggiano Parmesan cheese, just to stay in shape. We're going to pop that in a 375-degree oven for about 30 minutes until it looks like that. Look at that. So beautiful. And of course, you're going to want to let that sit for 10-15 minutes to sort of solidify, and then spoon it up and eat it. Unbelievably delicious. I mean, just regular green bean casserole with those fake fried onions on top is good, but this is a whole nother level. Sweet, savory, cheesy, that amazing crunchy topping, just a fork full of awesomeness. A side dish for any occasion, especially around the holidays. This would be just extra special. Anyway, head over to foodwishes.com for all the ingredient amounts as usual. And as always, enjoy